Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you today? I hope all of you stay safe and stay healthy. Like usually, before I start my content today, let me introduce myself. My name is Aditya Ghimnastiar. I'm from English Department 1 and my ID study number is 20210106010. And in this content, I will share my understanding that I have learned about translation and interpreting. There are many chapters that we will discuss in this content. Okay, chapter 1, we will discuss the definition and the difference of translation and interpreting in general. And in the chapter 2, we will discuss the meaning of translation according to expert. And in the chapter 3, we will discuss about the kind of translation. Okay, before we go into the discussion, I will ask you first. The first question is, what do you know about translation and interpreting? Okay, and the second question is, do you think translation is important? How? Yes? Okay. In the chapter 2, we will discuss about definition and difference. Translation by dictionary definition consists of changing from one state or form to another to turn into one's own or another language. A translation is a text. It is word arranged in sentence and sentence arranged in larger structure in a non-arbitrary way according to the conventions of language with the purpose of communicating something in particular. Translation is a set of actions performed by the translator while rendering the search or search text into another language. Interpreting is an oral language translation service, and the interpreter will translate one spoken language and convey it in another. The interpreter will listen, understand, and remember the content of the language search, which will then be conveyed into other language without reducing the meaning and the content. Okay? The difference between interpreting and translation is only the difference in the medium. The interpreter translates orally, while a translator interprets written text. Both interpreting and translation presuppose a certain love of language and deep knowledge of more than one language. Interpreter and translator perform similar tasks, but in different settings. While an interpreter converts any spoken material from one language, from source language into a different language or target language. A translator convert written material in the same manner. The key difference between translation and interpretation lies within the choice of communication channel. Simply put, translation deals with written communication, while interpreting is all about the spoken word. Translation works on written document, including books, essay, legal document, medical records, websites, instruction manual, subtitle for film or TV, or any other form of information in written form. Interpreters, on the other hand, are involved in projects that require live translation. For example, conferences and business meetings, medical appointment, and legal proceedings. Both translation and interpreting have a deep linguistic and cultural knowledge of their working language, as well as the ability of communicate clearly and succinctly. It is, however, important to highlight the distinctive feature of these two professions. Chapter 2. In this chapter, we will discuss the meaning of translation and interpreting based on the theory of expert. Okay? There are many expert theories about translation and interpreting, but I can't mention all of them because my time is limited. Okay? The first theory is from Catford, 1965. He said translation is the replacement of textual material in one language or such language by equivalent textual material in another language or target language. It means translation is the replacement of language text, the language research appropriate to the target language. And the second theory is from Newmark, 1988. He said translation is rendering the meaning of a text into another language in the way that the author intended the text. Newmark defines the act of translating very briefly. It is the act of transferring meaning of a stretch or a unit of language, the whole or a part, from one language to another. And the third theory is from this in 1976, and he said translation is a remote strategy of ideas and thought from the source language to another language in written or orally. It means that translation is a general term referring to the transfer of thought and ideas from one language to another, whether the language is in written or oral form, whether the language have established orthographies or not, or whether one or both languages based on science, as with science of the deep. Next, in the last chapter, we will discuss about kind of translation. There are 4 kinds of translation, including the first is perfect translation, the second is adequate translation, the third is composite translation, the fourth is research and technical translation. The first, perfect translation is a kind of translation that is often to see in public area. For example, search text dilarang merokok, target text no smoking. For this kind of text, the most important thing is the search message is transformed well with the same meaning in the target text. And the second is the adequate translation. This translation is meant for a reader who aim to get the general information of the text for fun reading. The example of this translation is popular novel and short stories translation. And the third is the composite translation. It's a series translation of literature. The translation is made well enough to make the message, meaning, and style of the short text can be transformed well in the target language. For example, the translation of The Old Man and the Sea is translated to be laki-laki tua dan laut. Okay, and the next, the research and technical translation. This kind of translation is made for translation text related to science or techniques. For example, translating books related to computer science from English to Indonesia in order to develop the information. Okay, maybe just it from me. Correct me if I wrong. Okay, see you again.